okay, and they want to scrap some elements of council power to give mayors more autonomy around the country. Now, as I look at that, I think there is the potential for a deficit in democracy here.
Sadiq Khan is making some shady moves in the parliament that might threaten our democracy.
I'm genuinely trying to work out what exactly Sadiq Khan is being rewarded for.
Knife crime.
Right, yeah, and the brilliant state of our once magnificent capital city.
Starmer loves his cronies, and Sadiq Khan is being rewarded for being shamelessly incompetent.
And quite frankly, London is not the city it was. How on earth he can get a knighthood is frankly beyond me.
Well, you're right. Knife crime has increased by more than 50%, violent crime soaring.
After destroying the state of London, Sadiq Khan has set his sights on the rest of the country, but the people are furious.
I'm genuinely trying to work out what exactly Sadiq Khan is being rewarded for.
Knife crime.
Right, yeah, and the brilliant state of our once magnificent capital city that literally everybody you talk to about says they are now increasingly worried about the state of quite flagrant crime on the streets, how dirty it's become.
Sadiq Khan is getting rewarded for being useless and incompetent, but Starmer has a hidden plan.
Don't know, if you want to discredit the honours system, if you want to actively go out of your way to raise questions about the way the honours system is used, how about giving Sadiq Khan a knighthood?
Starmer has turned this country's honour system into a joke by looking out for his cronies.
It's such a shocking, tragic, wasted opportunity because London is still one of the greatest capital cities on the planet. It has so much potential, and you know, every time I'm tempted to talk it down, I look around me and I see the fundamentals. You know, no other capital city has the spectacular Houses of Parliament on the Thames, has all that history. You know, there are so many bits to London.
Under Sadiq Khan, London has turned into a disastrous nightmare of woke nonsense.
There is so much more that we could do, and instead he pours money into silly woke initiatives and endless posters around Vauxhall talking about pride and, you know, diversity and so on, and it just isn't showing off our city at its best.
London's potential is being wasted every single day with Sadiq Khan's idiotic policies.
How much of this is Starmer watching his back, do you think? Because I think Khan's got his eye on the top job. He'll be opening his little book of contacts, wondering who would support him.
Well, if Sadiq Khan wanted to go for the top job, I know that every other opposition party would be delighted, because a less inspirational, politically threatening figure is hard to imagine.
Sadiq Khan is cooking up a plan to lead Labour, but nobody wants this buffoon.
One thing that Sadiq Khan has is he's an incredibly divisive politician. He panders to certain minority groups where he knows he gets the bloc vote, and I think some of the things that he said are frankly downright dangerous and outrageous.
Incompetent as he may be, Sadiq Khan is a shameless politician who bows down to the woke mob.
Let's be frank. Let's call a spade a spade. Some of those outside are part of the far right. Some are COVID deniers. Some are vaccine deniers, and some are Tories.
I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable, Isabel.
You know, every time politicians are stupid enough to smear large swathes of ordinary, law-abiding, decent people with these sorts of labels, I think good luck to you. You know, you might have got away with it.
Let's call a spade, and let's call Sadiq Khan out for being the delusional idiot that he is.
And if politicians like him go on using this lazy characterization of anybody who disagrees with them, anyone who actually dares question their crazed agenda, calling them far right, well, there are going to be repercussions for that politically, and we're already seeing it in the huge shifts in support for political parties right across, you know, the hegemony of the two traditional parties.
Whatever sinister little scheme Starmer and Sadiq Khan are cooking up, it's bound to miserably fail. They have no support left, as the entire country, especially London, hate what they've done to this nation. The approval ratings are in the gutter and there's no way they can succeed. On top of all that, Talk TV is calling out Sadiq Khan, absolutely demolishing what little credibility he has left and exposing his shady moves. If the fact that he's being knighted is making you mad, wait till you find out about his disastrous track record. Not only that, the recent things that Labour and Sadiq Khan are doing, especially the attempt to give more power to mayors.
You know, this Labour government want to give mayors more power around the country, okay? And they want to scrap some elements of council power to give mayors more autonomy around the country. Now, as I look at that, I think there is the potential for a deficit in democracy here. You know, if they sweep these things through.
Starmer and Angela Rayner have been pushing this agenda to give more power to local mayors by abolishing the councils. They're trying to hit two birds with one stone by cancelling the council elections, sabotaging Nigel Farage and handing more power to Sadiq Khan. They're shamelessly executing this disgraceful plan and Sadiq Khan genuinely thinks that they can get away with it. There's a furious backlash mounting up as the people are furious. Naturally, what else did Starmer and his cronies expect? They're attacking the people's right to vote and democracy. Of course, the public is outraged.
About the hate marches which have been going on all year through London and have spilt over all over the country. And the Police and Crime Commissioner hasn't stopped them in London. And the reason the Police and Crime Commissioner hasn't stopped them in London is because that person is Sadiq Khan, okay? And he should do that. They destroy the goodwill and peace of the West End.
Crime in London is a crisis at this point. No place is safe and the police aren't doing anything. The reason? Sadiq Khan refuses to take any solid action to tackle these problems. People are wondering if he's genuinely incompetent or if he simply doesn't care enough about the people of London. The reality is that Sadiq Khan is too focused on his own ambitions to become a big shot minister, but at this rate he won't even be able to retain his position as the mayor. Who would have thought that running shady moves in the parliament isn't exactly charming?
Despite the fact that Sadiq Khan sacked Cressida Dick, the last Met Police Chief Officer, actually he may have been stepping out of line because actually that was the job of the then Home Secretary. So there's a situation of one man, two bosses here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that exists for police chiefs the length and breadth of the country. Not only are they ultimately answerable to the Home Secretary, but in the middle ground, they're responsible, or they're supposed to be accountable to, their local police and crime commissioner. And if we rewind...
To make matters worse, Sadiq Khan is already abusing his power. This is the last person that should be given more control and power over our systems, as he'll simply end up ruining everything further. This man is so delusional that he thinks the London police is his personal platoon that he can command and control however he wants. He went far beyond his authority to fire the police chief, and to nobody's surprise, this incompetent and unclear government has made the police absolutely useless. How are they supposed to function when tone-deaf people like Sadiq Khan are firing people on a whim?
Effective, workable, efficient accountability of our police services, because we need it. Policing is failing the length and breadth of the country in many, many regards. And when it fails us, it fails the brave men and women who are trying to do an impossible job on the front line to keep us safe.
Whether it is knife crime or just mugging cases, the stats are concerning. Crime has shot through the roof in London and the police system is crumbling. The very obvious reason is that Sadiq Khan has single-handedly ruined the system. There's no semblance of transparency, proper authority, or accountability. Is it any wonder then that the system is shutting down? All the while, Sosofty is letting criminals run free and giving them premium treatment. To make matters worse, Keir Starmer has a plan of his own, and he might be using Sadiq Khan for his own goals.
Some people have cynically suggested on X today that actually this is Keir Starmer perhaps thinking about the more diverse vote by going for a knighthood for Sadiq Khan rather than actually thinking about his achievements.
It's no surprise that Starmer has negative support in the country now. Quite literally, everyone hates him for being delusional, out of touch with reality, socialist, and he's terrified. Starmer's getting desperate and now he's trying everything he can to gain as much support as he can. At this rate, Starmer's not going to ever win an election again, which is why he's looking to pander to the minorities and get them on his side. Naturally, he's trying to make a deal with Sadiq Khan and promising him rewards in return for support.
I think also it's worth bearing in mind that Sadiq Khan, by this stage of his career, had ambition to be in Keir Starmer's cabinet. Now, those ambitions haven't materialised. There was a school of thought that actually he would be serving in a position like Justice Secretary in Keir Starmer's cabinet, and that hasn't happened.
It all works out for Sadiq Khan, as he already wanted to become a close crony of Starmer and get in his good graces. Is it any wonder then that Sadiq Khan is making shady moves in the parliament and shamelessly trying to get into power one way or another? He was denied the position of the Justice Secretary once, and now he's coming for more. Starmer's deal with this woke mayor goes deeper than this, as there's rumours that Starmer might have promised him even more than just a place in the Labour cabinet.
So, from my reading of it, it is something of a consolation prize for Sadiq Khan, and I think the way things are heading in Westminster right now, there's no guarantee that Sadiq Khan is actually going to get the opportunity to move from City Hall into Westminster, because there's no guarantee that Keir Starmer is going to successfully fight the next election. So
what neither Starmer nor Sadiq Khan understand is that nobody likes either of them. The people are done with Labour, and all their disgusting schemes are bound to go up in flames. Labour's doing horribly in the polls, and no amount of damage control is going to save that. Sure, they can bank on the minorities as much as they want, but the truth is that Starmer has simply made too many enemies. The pensioners, farmers, and businesses aren't going to forget what Starmer did to them. Nobody trusts this man anymore, and teaming up with Sadiq Khan only worsens his reputation.
And I take your point, by the way. It's worth mentioning, of course, that knife crime has soared 50% since Sadiq Khan became mayor. The mayoral tax precept is up 70% since Sadiq Khan became mayor in 2016. But given the demographics of London, he, alongside Andy Burnham, who is the Greater Mayor of Manchester, are Labour's most senior, successful elected politician since Tony Blair. They've managed to win 3 elections on the bounce.
The biggest tragedy here is that Starmer is wasting the prestigious title of knighthood on someone like Sadiq Khan. His track record is so disgraceful that no matter how you look at it, Sadiq Khan does not deserve to even be a mayor, let alone a knight. Knife crime has become a pandemic, and the people in London are scared for their lives. Sadiq Khan is proof of what will happen to Britain if we let Labour do whatever they want. The people are waking up, and talk TV hosts are not going to let Sadiq Khan off the hook so easily.
Actually missing here, giving credit where it's due, that okay, when it comes to being a mayor, I think that Sadiq Khan, his achievements, when you look at them on paper, are absolutely diabolical. But when it comes to being a politician, he's actually brilliant, because he does seem to have this brilliant ability to solve the easy problems that get him good press that don't perhaps need solving.
This is the reason why Starmer is desperately trying to get Sadiq Khan on his side. They're both useless, bumbling idiots who serve as nothing more than prime examples of incompetency. What they both shine at is deflecting the hard questions and pretending to be righteous. Sadiq Khan is a disaster of a mayor, but he's exactly the kind of politician Starmer is looking for. Meanwhile, all the real problems that are plaguing this nation, like the economy plummeting, crime surging, and out-of-control immigration, will continue to get worse.
Yeah, I remember there's only one time, and this is, I think, perhaps, a testament to the fact that Sadiq Khan is a street fighter or a politician. There's only one time I ever actually managed to nail him in an interview. Every other time he got his message across, and it felt like he was, he'd managed to escape the question or come off best of me. And the only time I managed to get it was in a particular wave of knife crime back in 2017, and he hadn't met the victims of anybody who had lost their lives, or the families of the victims of anybody who had lost their lives.
Starmer actually looks up to Sadiq Khan as he succeeds where Starmer fails. While Starmer gets humiliated on live TV and exposed to be a fool who has no clue what he's doing, Sadiq Khan manages to weasel his way out of accountability. There's a reason why Sadiq Khan keeps getting elected as the mayor of London, despite the state of the city being way worse than you could ever imagine.
And I know the Conservatives are leading the charge on this, right? Saying, well, Sadiq Khan is, this is reward for failure. But Sadiq Khan has won 3 mayoral election, and in each case he has defeated Conservative candidates. The last time around, the Tories even changed the rules to make it more difficult for him by making it first past the post, knowing there's a broader coalition of parties on the left of politics in London than there is on the right of politics in London. And Sadiq Khan still won.
You can look at Sadiq Khan being knighted in two ways. One is that he's being rewarded for disgusting levels of incompetence, and the second is that he's actually a good politician who has put the Tories to shame 3 times now. Despite the Tory party's attempts to win in London, they keep getting humiliated by the likes of Sadiq Khan, of all people. How pathetic is that? It's all about publicity, and Khan's exceptionally good at being a weasel.
He does either choose the media outlets, and this goes to perhaps a failure of those outlets, that seem to give him quite an easy ride. So, for instance, Evening Standard, you know, I read a piece a few weeks ago by Ross Liddell, who is very, very pro, writer for the Evening Standard, very, very pro Sadiq Khan. And he listed all his failures, but said, but he's won 3 elections and he's always dressed very well and comes across quite well. And that was the reason why he thought he deserved the knighthood.
The media outlets are so shamelessly biased towards Labour that it's almost laughable. The absolute state of our nation's accountability and transparency standards are in the gutter. On one hand, the people are furious beyond belief, demanding that people like Sadiq Khan should resign. And on the other hand, we have the media outlets borderline worshipping this incompetent lot for just existing. In what world does Sadiq Khan dress well? And in what fantasy land is that a good enough reason to make him a knight?
Of PM Knights Khan in a reward for failure. Yes, you heard that right. Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has been knighted in Sir Keir Starmer's first New Year's honours list. Let's just look at his track record, shall we? So the congestion charge, the ULEZ, spiralling knife crime. Why is he be honoured?
Unlike you, David, I don't live in a countryside. I live in a London suburb.
Yes.
I've lived in London boroughs all my life. And since Khan's election to the role of mayor, way back in 2016, I've seen this city nosedive.
What does it say about the state of our nation when people like Sadiq Khan are being knighted? He has no accomplishments to his name other than the fact that he somehow managed to make the most beautiful capital, London, into an absolute hellish nightmare. People are afraid to even walk outside as they might get attacked or robbed in broad daylight, and Sadiq Khan is parading around as if he's not to blame.
On our tubes, our buses, our trains, it's so appalling that women are harassed on a very, very frequent basis. The streets are, there are so many homeless people on our streets, which is unfortunate for them, and I'll say unsightly for others to have to navigate their way around.
It's not just law and order that's in shambles under Sadiq Khan. This man has ruined the very social fabric of London. Can you believe that women feel unsafe in Britain out of all places in the entire world? And why is that? We have record levels of immigration and London is barely even British anymore. There's very clear 2-tier policing and a substandard justice system that is so soft on crime that people get away with all sorts of shameless behaviour.
How on earth he can get a knighthood is frankly beyond me.
Well, you're right. Knife crime has increased by more than 50%. Violent crime soaring, despite a 71% increase in the portion of council tax, of course, that Londoners pay to City Hall. There's a housing crisis. We've seen, obviously, ULEZ as well. The other thing that drives me potty being in London is those 20-mile-an-hour zones. And, of course, the way that traffic has actually become more congested under Sadiq Khan. I honestly don't know who he is working for, apart from himself.
The net immigration levels are so high that the city just can't take in any more people. Yet, Sadiq Khan and Starmer are too tone deaf to listen to the backlash and actually do something about the crisis. The entire city of London has been turned into an unsightly mess, and we've no one to blame other than Sadiq Khan. The fact that he's being awarded for this utterly incompetent and disgusting performance is baffling.
And yet Khan says every journey matters on the London Underground and on the buses and all of that. You could have fooled me. London has simply got more dangerous. Don't get your phone out because somebody will nick it. Don't wear a nice watch because somebody will rob you of that. London's got increasingly dangerous. The police have got increasingly ineffective. The streets are dirty, littered, filthy, and so many people are being turned off coming to London. And he...
Make no mistake, despite the continuous attempts at damage control and deflection, both Sadiq Khan and Labour are in crisis mode. They can pretend all they want that London is doing fine, but the people aren't blind. We can see just how dangerous the city has gotten, and given that Sadiq Khan is making shady moves in the parliament, the entire country is in danger now.
And of course, he relies heavily on the block brown vote in London. And they've elected him 3 times, astonishingly, ludicrously, foolishly, I would venture to suggest. He knows his audience, he knows how to get voted in, he knows exactly what to say, because of course London has swathes of this city, not only the inner parts of it, but the suburbs, that are almost full exclusively of brown and black faces.
The only reason someone this useless has gotten this far and managed to get elected 3 times is because he knows how to manipulate the voters. Sadiq Khan plays the minority card time and time again and banks on the people's sympathies. Unfortunately for him, people are not buying his sob story anymore. At this rate, the entirety of the Labour Party's finished and won't be winning another election anytime soon, and there's a very obvious reason for that.
Right of centre, slightly right of centre, anything that kind of represents the man who drives a van for a living, needs to get into London to earn a shilling or 3, and is in any way, shape or form not basically part of the lunatic left.
I mean, it certainly seems that he panders to those minority groups. He knows, as you say, exactly where his vote is. It seems the vast majority of Londoners are ignored. And as you rightly say, he has been rewarded for failure. What does it say about the wider award system?
The lunatic left is done for, and Sadiq Khan is on borrowed time. His days of shamelessly slandering the working class people of this country are over. The public has lost all confidence in this delusional idiot, and the polls are very clear on that. The public wants politicians who can represent their real interests, not ideologically motivated socialists. The Brits are waking up and they are demanding these buffoons to resign. Getting them to resign is something you can help out with by liking the video and subscribing to the channel.